All right. I had to bring the phone on this one. Forget the screen share on my desktop. I said, let me use my cell phone so they can really see. So, PNAS, a reputable site. It's the proceedings of the, excuse me, proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences of the United States of America. Okay? Totally legit source. And the title, Ancient Genomes from North Africa Evidence Prehistoric Migrations to the Maghreb and from both the Levant and Europe. When you hear Maghreb, just think Morocco, which is North Africa, right? So I've been telling people there's never been any kinky haired blacks in all of North Africa, not just the Maghreb. In all of, I'm burping. In all of North Africa, West Asia, Levant, Europe, Caucasus, nowhere there. We are sub-Saharan. That's where we come from. That's where kinky haired black people come from. Sub-Saharan Africa, below the Sahara. Now, for proof, let's just talk about it then. Ancient genomes. It didn't say modern. Ancient genomes from North Africa evidence prehistoric migrations to the Maghreb from both the Levant, which is like by Israel's Syria, around there, you know what I mean? In Europe, okay? So this is what North Africans in the Maghreb, and even not in the Maghreb, just throughout North Africa, but we're mainly focused on the Maghreb in Morocco, okay? So let's read for you liars and people who are in denial and just can't get over the fact that you not have nothing to do with the Egyptians. You have nothing to do with North Africa. Now, I'm doing this. I hope it's not too blurry. The significance of this, right? The acquisition of agricultural. Let me move my. I'm gonna read it, so it may be to them. I'm gonna read the acquisition. I can't read it through my phone. Good. The acquisition of agricultural techniques during the so-called Neolithic Revolution has been one of the major steps forward in human history. Using next-generation sequencing, the ancient DNA techniques, we directly test whether Neolithization. When you hear Neolithic, think around 8,000 years, give or take. We directly test whether Neolithization in North Africa occurred through the transmission of ideas by demic diffusion. We showed that early Neolithic Moroccans are composed of an endemic Maghrebi element still retained. This element is still retained in present-day North African populations, resembling the genetic component observed in later Stone Age communities from Morocco. However, late Neolithic individuals from North Africa are admixed with a North African and European component. Our results support the idea that the Neolithization of North Africa evolved both the development of Epipaleolithic communities and the migration of people from Europe in Neolithic times. Okay? You guys are nowhere around and in here. Okay? Abstract. To the extent to which prehistoric migrations of farmers influenced the genetic pool of Western North Africans remains unclear. Archaeological evidence suggests that the Neolithic process may have happened through the adoption of innovations by local Paleolithic communities or by demic diffusion from the eastern Mediterranean shores of Iberia. Here we present an analysis of individuals' genome sequences from early and late Neolithic sites in Morocco, from early Neolithic individuals from southern Iberia. We show that Neolithic Moroccans, 5000 BC, are similar to later Stone Age individuals from the same region and possess an endemic element retained in present-day Maghrebi populations, confirming a long-term genetic continuity in the region. So it's been a genetic continuity in the region for thousands of years. Where I leave off at, I'm trying to read to the phone and my tablet. Well, I'll just start over here. I forgot where I left off at. 5,000 there. Stone individuals from the same region and possessing an endemic element retained in present-day Maghrebi populations, confirming a long-term genetic continuity in the region. This scenario is consistent with early Neolithic traditions in North Africa, deriving from Paleolithic communities that adopted certain agricultural techniques from neighboring populations. Among Eurasian ancient populations, early Neolithic Moroccans, and distant related to Levantine Natufian hunter-gatherers. Levantine of the Levant, okay? And it says 9,000 BC. And pre-pottery Neolithic farmers, 6,500 BC. These people have been around there for 10,000 years, flowing in, up out of there, flowing from the Levant, the Near East, all the way over to Morocco. But Morocco specifically may have more European DNA than other northern North African populations. That's what I'm reading. I may have it wrong. I suck with the genetics. I suck. I'm gonna tell you that now. So I don't understand all some of the talk, but a lot of people do, and you can read this for yourself. All I know is it's saying it ain't had nothing to do with you sub-Saharan Africans. In contrast, share an Iberian component supporting theories of trans-Gibraltar gene flow and indicating that Neolithization of North Africa involved both the movement of ideas and peoples. Lastly, the southern Iberian Neolithic samples share the same genetic composition as the Cardio-Mediterranean Neolithic culture that reached Iberia 5,500 BC, which is about 7,500 years ago. The culture and genetic similarities between Iberian and North African Neolithic traditions further reinforce the model of an Iberian migration to the Maghreb. Okay? Now, let me just get to, because there's a lot in here. It's a lot in here. So let me just get to the conclusion. Let me just reach the conclusion because it's a lot of... Okay, there we go. The conclusion. Genetic analysis have revealed that the population history of modern North Africans is quite complex. Based on our aDNA analysis, we identify an early Neolithic Moroccan component that is restricted to North Africa in present-day populations. The sole ancestry in IAM samples, and similar to the ones observed in later Stone Age samples from Morocco, we conclude that the component distantly related to that Epipaleolithic communities from the Levant represents an autochthonous Maghreb ancestry associated with Berber populations. Our data suggests that human populations were isolated in the Maghreb since Upper Paleolithic times. Okay, Paleolithic times is from 10,000 years ago and further. Our hypothesis, in the agreement with archaeological research pointing to the first stage of Neolithic expansion in Morocco as a result of local population that adopted some technological innovations such as pottery production or farming from neighboring areas. By 3000 BC, a continuity in the Neolithic spread brought Mediterranean-like ancestry. They've been arguing about what is Mediterranean culture. Mediterranean culture is just, or societies, are just people around the Mediterranean Sea, along the coast. They would just consider that a Mediterranean society. Egypt is considered a Mediterranean society all around the Mediterranean Sea. Okay? That's why I used to always say, I ain't no damn Mediterranean. People didn't get what I was saying, but that's what I was saying. Okay, by 3000, a continuity of Neolithic spread brought Mediterranean-like ancestry to the Maghreb, most likely from Iberia. Other archaeological remains, such as African elephant ivory and ostrich eggs found in Iberian sites, confirm the existence of contacts and exchange networks through both sides of the Gibraltar Straits at this time. Our analysis strongly support that at least some of the European ancestry observed today in North Africa is related to prehistoric migrations. They were migrating around, back in and out, back migrations, prehistoric times. And prehistoric migrations and local bird populations were already admixed with Europeans before the Roman conquest. Furthermore, additional European Iberian ancestry could have reached the Maghreb after KEB people. The scenario is supported by the presence of Iberian-like Bell-Baker pottery in more recent stratigraphic layers of IAM and KEB caves. Future paleogenomic efforts in North Africa will further disentangle the complex history of migrations that forged the ancestry of the admixed populations we observe today. Now, it did say it had some sub-Saharan African DNA, but that didn't come in until 1200 years ago. So if anybody read it, you'll see that. So I didn't want to leave that out. That was a later implementation into the DNA around 1200 years ago. Oh, here we go. This could be an agreement that with analysis of present-day genome wide world data from Morocco, which estimated migration of Western African origin into Morocco only 1200 years ago. That was during slave trading. Okay. So you guys have nothing to do with North Africa. And you got to understand that. And it's okay. And this is fucking science. I don't care what nobody say. I'm led by science. Case closed. Get the fuck up out of Egypt and come back home to West Africa.